are potentially inflationary for American customers as well. I was reading a research report which suggested that for every 10% increase in tariff, there's a 1% increase in consumer price inflation. So you're also accountable to American people and the price at which they buy products domestically. How concerned are you about the inflationary impact of the moves that you're making on tariffs, sir?
Oh, I'm more concerned about the things you read. There is no inflation from tariffs. As you know, I mean, India has amongst the highest, if not the highest tariff rate in the world, the second highest tariff rate in the world. And because you have such high tariffs, do you have inflation? Of course not. Remember, inflation only comes from running deficits and printing money, right? And India and your economy and all the people watching me today, they understand that tariffs have not created inflation in India. So my opinion to that is that's nonsense.
Sir, you're also encouraging companies to make in America, whether they're American companies or other companies. Now, one of the reasons that manufacturing moved out of the United States is that it no longer was economically viable and competitive, given the high cost of the factors of production, particularly labor, for manufacturing to happen, which is why it moved to countries like China, Vietnam, to some extent to India. That reality still remains. There is some robotics and AI which can help you, but the fact that America and these global supply chains are built over decades with very sharp financial managers like yourself in your previous life looking at which part of the supply chain should be set up in which part of the world. Now, as you try and reconfigure that, A, you've got 4 years to try and do it. Can it happen? And B, the kind of impact it'll have given the realities of what it costs to manufacture in the US.
So what happens is people think about these things as if there's a level set of the world, right? If there were no tariffs in the world, no trade barriers, no subsidies in the world, then each company would try to find the lowest cost labor in the world, the lowest cost production in the world, and they would create the lowest cost. But that's just not true. There is virtually no country, if any country in the world, that does not, as you said, protect its farmers, protect this, create that. So what you're going to see is America is going to say, I want manufacturing to come back home. I want manufacturing to come back home. And if that means I need to put a 25% tariff on the outside world, I'll do that. And if that equalizes production home, that will equalize production home. Autos, semiconductors, lumber, steel, aluminum, and copper. These are all products, pharmaceuticals. These are all products that the president has called out that he wants to make sure for national security purposes and for purposes of our country, we need that manufacturing to come home. And if you put up a tariff wall, a barrier, an economic reason for people to come home, they will. So, the theory of every country in the world is free is just not true. The key is we want certain manufacturing to come home. It's going to come home because we have the greatest economy in the world. We have a giant magnet called the American consumer who buys the most stuff, buys the most things of any country in the world. We buy more than double what the 1.4 billion people of China buy. So you need to do business in America. It's vital for the world to do business in America. And some of that business needs to be built in America.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share, and subscribe.